Schreier, welcome to the Contractor Spotlight. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. What a beautiful day.
It's a perfect day out. Nice summer weather, at least when we're filming this. If you're watching it later, it might not be that way, but here we are today. W.D.S. Construction. So tell me a little bit about your role there.
I am Executive Vice President and CFO of W.D.S. Construction, and we're based out of Beaver Dam, Wisconsin, but we do work nationwide. So.
Wow. What type of work do you do?
So WDS does a lot in the retail space, medical office, food and beverage is a sweet spot of ours as well. Lots in the entertainment, that seems to be popular for this generation.
So what is entertainment?
So entertainment, Dave & Buster's is a client of ours, so kind of like an
So it's arcade
adult
with food.
game, food, social interaction, where you can meet a group of friends, have some food, but also have a social aspect
So
as
do you
well.
do the Top Golf ones too?
Not Top
Not
Golf,
Top Golf.
some with Bolero. Before COVID, we did Punch Bowl socials, but they were a casualty of the COVID era.
Well, that's gotta be cool, doing
Yeah.
some environments like that.
Yeah.
Well, that's very neat. So nationwide, so you have people traveling all over the place.
Yes, so you could describe us as construction managers at risk. We don't self-perform any trades, with a small exception locally. But we have been to most of the major metros, have a good subcontractor base. We think it allows us the flexibility to be nimble for our clients, and also, get the best price using, kind of that merit shop philosophy. And
So if you were to describe project manager at risk, for some of us like me who might not completely understand what that means, what would you tell somebody how is that different from what a normal contractor would be?
Yeah, so, we can be considered a general contractor. We just don't self-perform any specific trade. So we don't have a crew for concrete, we don't have a crew for carpentry. We employ a site superintendent who's on site every day, dedicated to that project, that's responsible for safety, quality, and schedule on site.
Got it. When it comes to what WDS does, tell me about the company. How did it get to where it's at today? What's the evolution?
Yeah, so Ben Westra is a fourth generation contractor.
Okay.
The name was actually born from his great-grandfather, grandfather, and father. So William, Dewey, and Steve Westra were all in the construction business, and that's how he named WDS. He originally was on the East Coast out of college, went to work for his dad's firm as originally an estimator and then a project manager. So really cut his teeth across a couple aspects of the business. Left in 2005 to move back to the Midwest, back to Wisconsin where he was originally from. And he describes it as, he sent out that cursory email to all of his, contacts and said, hey, I'm moving, here's my contact information, not sure where I'm landing. And he had a couple of companies that he worked with that said, hey, look us up when you get back, wherever you land, we'll give you the work. And he said on that long drive back to Wisconsin, he thought, maybe I should give this a go. And he thought he'll try a project or two and see what he thinks. And that was the birth of WDS, and kind of hasn't stopped since. And those two original clients are still clients today.
Yes.
So.
It's testament to the work that he
Yeah.
does. How long ago was that started?
2005.
Okay.
So this summer is our 18th anniversary, 18
Nice.
years in business. And I originally met Ben at that same East Coast company where I worked as first a controller and then a corporate controller. And so we had always, we had been friends then. And when he got that first work, I had started a consulting company, and he called me and said, help.
Apparently I got a job.
It was a
quick
starting a
consulting
company.
gig, right?
Yeah.
And you're not originally from around here, are you?
No.
You're an
So
import.
I am. So born and raised in Hershey, Pennsylvania. I like
Ah.
to say the sweetest place on earth.
So we count on you for the chocolate bars and the
Chocolates,
s'mores.
yep. And started with W.D.S. full-time in 2013, still from Hershey.
Mhm.
I like to say I was a remote employee before it was a thing. And then in early 2016, we relocated the family to Wisconsin.
Nice.
So been here a little over 7 years and love the Midwest. We love the area, love the
Not a
culture.
better place to be.
Yeah.
So 18 years,
Mhm.
how has the company grown in that 18-year period?
So I mean, from nothing to a lot. We're over 150 million a year in revenue
Wow.
now. So and really just focused on some simple things. Very customer centric. Like if we had to describe our customer interaction or our company philosophy, very customer centric. So really our goal is to make the project simple for our customer. We like to say, we sweat the details so they don't have to. Kind of a never say no philosophy, very attuned to schedule, which comes out of some of those early retail clients and how important the schedule is to the client. So we like to think we're schedule masters. And then a really strong family environment or culture. We've discovered that, the one thing that employees have in common is we're all very passionate about construction. That's a theme we hear over and over again, which makes it easy to work with a group of people who all kind of share the same thing. We say that we take care of our W.D.S. family, also very community driven, and a lot of like philanthropic efforts and community service efforts.
What are some of the projects or efforts that you participate in?
Yeah, so one thing that was done a number of years ago was, Ben's very committed to community and charity. And, it used to be at the end of the year, you were reading through the letters of all of the charities that would be asking for year-end donations. And, they're all very good. They're all deserving of funds. And Beaver Dam itself has over 200 nonprofits just within that community. So this concept was born that, wow, if we would actually use our skills in addition to our funds, we could have a bigger effort than just donating funds alone. And one of those examples was Green Valley Enterprises, a local nonprofit that works with disabled individuals.
Okay.
And they needed a dock door, and they're like, hey, would you please donate some funds? We need this dock door. It's integral to our daily operations. And we realized, wait, we have a network that can get you get a door installed, and probably do it less expensively than if you just had to go secure your own
Sure.
Contractor to do that. So we started a little company called W.D.S. Works, and that is their focus. We have one superintendent project manager that's all he does, all through donations, and it's where 1 + 1 is more than 2. So.
Are most of the projects just in Beaver Dam, or do you spread out across the state?
The majority of them are local,
Okay.
and we've had employees help with those. We did a Make-A-Wish for a family that had a daughter in a wheelchair and needed a concrete sidewalk from their house to their pool. And we had a couple of employees help with that pour, and get the feel good that comes out of helping your neighbor. So,
Very nice.
yeah.
Those are wonderful projects to be working on. Now, how many people actually work for W.D.S.?
We have about 85 employees.
Okay.
I'd say about half of those are in our Beaver Dam office that work out of the office, whether it's estimating, project management, support staff. And the other half are spread across the country. So we have a small development team out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We've got a couple remote project managers spread across the country, and then of course all of our site superintendents are nationwide as well. So.
Nice. So a lot of people
Yeah.
spread everywhere.
Yes, yes.
So when it comes to employees, how do you go about hiring? Because you don't have to worry about just Wisconsin, you have to worry about, as you point out, Pennsylvania, maybe you got people in California or
Yeah.
Colorado or wherever. How do you go about finding them?
Well, in some ways, that maybe makes it easier than just trying to find people out of Beaver Dam, but a lot of word of mouth, a lot of word of mouth, a lot of network, and we've found that word of mouth referral is actually the most beneficial. When you have someone that's already an employee and understands our culture and kind of our uniqueness and you know, what the expectations are, they usually are a good identifier of someone else who might be a good fit.
Also a pretty good cheerleader, I would
Yes,
assume. Yeah.
yes, so that's been beneficial. And then I think we use some of the traditional methods, you know, whether we're doing job posts, social media, all of our jobs get posted through. For sure Facebook, probably LinkedIn as well. Our website has our openings. Yeah, sometimes it's just a lot of, you know, searching for that needle in a haystack, but also fortunate that they can pretty much reside anywhere as long as they're willing to be a traveler.
How much traveling do they do if they're project managers out in the field?
So our project managers, you know, some of them travel very little because they're maybe just doing local projects, and other ones might travel, you know, every other week on kind of a travel cycle, visiting their job, holding their owner, architect, contractor meetings on site, working with the superintendent on anything that they need eyeballs on the job, so.
So if you want to see the country, this is actually a good opportunity.
Yes, this is a great opportunity. We actually have some superintendents that, you know, their wives are either retired or some of them are like traveling nurses, and they pull a fifth wheel camper and this is their life, so. Yeah.
What's the most unique project you guys have worked on?
Oh boy, there's been a lot. You know, one that maybe stands out is we did a bioscience manufacturing facility in Austin, Minnesota. I'm going to pick that because I actually worked on the development side of that, so it's, you know, close to my heart. But they are the first animal-free peptone processor in the United States.
Oh, wow.
The first, and I think still the only. They produce an ingredient that went into the COVID vaccine, so you know, it was super timely in just, you know, helping that pandemic. Yeah, was a neat and unique project.
Nice. Now you mentioned your import came from Pennsylvania. You also have experience with not only this ABC in Wisconsin, but you have experience with that ABC in Pennsylvania. So what'd you do out there?
Yes, so I like to say that I'm like super blessed to have experience with the two best chapters across the U.S.
Well, there's really only one best chapter. We'll give them props.
So I worked with Keystone ABC out of Pennsylvania, and in 1995 when I stepped into the construction industry from the construction side. I had experience from an owner side, but never from, you know, the actual construction side, which I think was what intrigued me so much, to be able to watch a project, you know, kind of be designed and built and then turn into a business. I was super intrigued on like how they made that all happen in, you know, that year process. And so in 1995, when I went to work for a contractor, really didn't understand a lot of the lingo, you know, hadn't heard of bonding, didn't understand, you know, the nuances of the industry itself. So I was advised, get involved with ABC, and jumped in with both feet and got involved in, for a short time, the legal committee, but then really landed on the education committee. Was always passionate about education, thought I wanted to be a teacher at one point in time. Have always seen myself as a mentor, you know, with other staff, and created a course called the Construction Process Overview. It was like a 12-hour course to really give everyone that was not hands-on already in construction. So we didn't want field guys, we didn't want like project managers. We wanted people that were either in support roles, like maybe they were attorneys, maybe they were from the insurance, maybe they were, support people within a construction company itself. But they wanted to understand that process, kind of the same thing I was asking, like.
Helps if you know the workflow
Yeah,
and
like
how things go
explain
together.
this all, so.
Yeah.
We did blueprint reading, we did job tours, we looked at contracts and talked about contract types, we looked at schedules and like photo sequencing. Really just a whole, understood some of the terminology, just a whole kind of overview process. And that ran for a number of years, and then finally when I relocated, I turned over all those materials, and hopefully they're still running it, so.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Well, now you're here, fast forward to today,
Yep.
and you're part of the board here now, right?
Yes.
So what's your role on the board?
So my role on the board is a board member. Last year I was secretary, this year I'm just a board member, but I got involved with the task force that really looked at the DEI, the diversity, equity, and inclusion. They're actually looking, I've stepped back from that, but they're looking at making that a full-blown committee now, potentially, and really worked around what does the chapter or the board want that message to be out of that. And one of the things they landed on was inclusion and the idea of merit shop for everyone. We're not looking to jump on any political bandwagons or anything like that, but really just trying to get the word out of what is merit shop and who is the construction industry for, and that it's really for anyone. And it's a great trade, a great skill, a great career path for someone, that's looking for a trade.
Nice. What would you say personally has been your biggest takeaway from becoming a board member?
Just the ability to influence the industry. I'm at a different part of the spectrum now than I was, in 95 when I stepped into ABC. So for me, I see it as a way to give back to the industry that's, really promoted my career and made my career successful. To give my ideas and my perspective on, what makes ABC members successful, what resources might be needed. I like to think in some small way I'm kind of following in the footsteps of Steve Westra, who was super active on ABC, was a national chair. He always encouraged ABC membership, and so in some small way I'm kind of carrying on his legacy.
Well, that kind of leads into the next question, which is, okay, now you've been approached by somebody who's maybe not an ABC member. What would be the recommendation you would make to them of why they should join?
I think it's just, this chapter, the Wisconsin chapter, is so strong. It feels cutting edge, compared to maybe some others, but you're getting that whole depth of experience. You're not just like joining an association, but you're getting 925 colleagues, who share the same passion for construction. And why not harness that energy, that knowledge, that experience, and find out where that fits your business. And one of the early questions that I asked when I joined or when I hired into the construction industry was, wait, I don't understand this. Everyone always said this is an extremely tight network and small community. And I was like, well, how can that be? It's like one of the top 5 industries in the country.
Right.
But that is so true. The networking piece, is so important, and it is such a tight community. And how much happens by word of mouth, even in a technology-driven, kind of internet-driven world, it still really boils down to relationships.
It does. Great testimonial for that. Denita, thanks again for participating. So if somebody wants to work for W.D.S., how do they get a hold of you?
They can go to our website. That's probably the best, WDSconstruction.net, and find us there on our career page, or simply email hr@wdsconstruction.net.
Okay. Key is .net.
.net.
Because most people automatically type in the .com.
Yes.
Very good. Denita, thanks again. Really appreciate talking with you, and it's been a
Thank
pleasure.
you so much.
Take care.
You too.